What up, dude bros? I'm Frank. This is a video review of the Nerf rival Kronos. This is the Deadpool Combo Edition. It's set up as a collector's item with a Deadpool paint job on the blasters in cool packaging. But the rival Kronos blaster itself is a spring-action pistol with a 5-round internal magazine. Pretty cool. So let's get into the review. I typically don't go over the box and say, here's this element, blah, 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 because you can see these images online. But this packaging is a little different because it's kind of a collector's item, and they try to build in kind of an experience. So it's not just a product inside a box, the box is part of the product, kind of. The display of the products within the box is unique, and it's pretty cool. You could actually store the blasters in there if you're a Deadpool fan or a collector, because it's almost like a custom gun case, which is pretty cool. Plus, the box and the manual have like graffiti on it, as if the Deadpool character kind of modified it. Instead of experience the intensity, the rival slogan, this is experience my intensity. And everywhere rounds is written, it's crossed out and replaced with balls, which I think is funny. Balls. I feel like I would get along with Deadpool pretty well. He seems like a pretty fun dude. But now we'll get to the actual blasters. It comes with 2 blasters in the combo set, but these blasters are identical other than their graffiti on the paint job. This one says blam blam, no fair. And this one says bad guys with an arrow pointing out the muzzle and smile. Other than those minor changes, these blasters are identical, so I'm just going to go over one. Starting up at the front of the blaster, it does not have an in-strike barrel attachment point, which is pretty standard for the rival series. Above that is the front iron sight to correspond with the rear, pretty standard. Then a standard Nerf rival rail, and behind the rail is the access door and also the magazine port. To get into there, you can just lift up the flap. When the slide is forward, the chamber is closed and you can't get into the magazine, but when you prime it back, you can see inside to load your balls. Balls! And to load, you can just push them in. It's pretty simple. This magazine is not detachable from the blaster. It's considered an internal magazine. So it's permanent or built in just like a revolver, but it's spring-loaded like a magazine. Similar to the Mega Magnus right there. After you load up your balls, you can shut the access door and continue firing. There's nothing else to point out in the lower section of the blaster here, like a rail or a storage compartment. So moving back, there's another Nerf rival rail up here for another sight if you want to, for double the accuracy. And behind that again, the rear iron sight. So this whole chunk is the priming handle. That's how you prime it. The prime weight is much lower than I was anticipating, considering its chrono velocity. The Apollo, for example, is kind of difficult to prime back. This prime weight is almost lighter than the Apollo, and it's much smoother and just easier and more ergonomic to prime back very quickly. So pleasantly surprised with that. And there's also 2 little black things on the side of the slide that kind of arch out, which provides something of a backstop for your fingers to grab while you're trying to grip the slide very quickly. It's a pretty minor detail, but it's one of those ergonomic things that makes a big difference even though it's pretty small. So you're not wasting effort clamping into the slide, you're only pulling back on the slide. And in the complete back of the slide, there's a priming indicator and the unjamming button. The priming indicator gives a really clear indication of whether or not it's primed. Some of the Nerf indicators are a little ambiguous and not quite as concise as I would like. This is very clearly primed or unprimed. And below the indicator is the unjamming button. This allows you to pretty much double rack the slide. After you prime this blaster, you're not able to prime it again. You're supposed to pull the trigger, but some jams prevent you from being able to fire, so you're not able to fire and you're not able to prime it, so it seizes up and it kind of sucks. Because I primed it, it's locked. This unjamming button disables that lock, so I can prime it again. This also allows you to chamber 2 balls in shotgun fire, obviously at a much lower velocity, but it's pretty cool. It's a little too cumbersome, in my opinion, to get in there with your fingers to do that, like tactically, but it is cool. And below the slide, only on the left-hand side, is the safety. It's active in the lower position, and when it is active, it prevents you from pulling the trigger. Then you can disable it to fire. And like most of the rival safeties, it's in a convenient location to flick when it's in firing position, as opposed to using an offhand to disable it. The trigger pull is pretty standard. This blaster does not have slam fire, and the grip is in line with the rival series, oversized, ergonomic, and very comfortable for a large hand. I'm about 6'4" in height, so I have like wicked big hands, and it's plenty comfortable for me. Yet the length of pull isn't so big that it would be uncomfortable for a smaller or reasonable sized hand. I complain about grips all the time, but this one is solid. And at the bottom there's a lanyard mount. That is the overview. So again, basic operation, you prime it back, you open up the mag door, you slide in 5 rival rounds, you shut it, and pew pew. Firing test, go. Shooting the red ammo. Yellow ammo. Real-time reload to show you the speed of it. Double loading on purpose. 3 too much. Yeah, that's just unusable. Firing the rival Kronos is super fun. I fired a couple hundred rounds and did not have any jams or malfunctions. And I put the Kronos up on my chronograph, the Kronos, yeah, and achieved an average velocity of 90 feet per second, exactly what the box advertises. The rival norm right now is about 100 FPS, so it is a little below that, but for a pistol, that kind of makes sense. Hasbro pretty regularly makes the pistol shoot a little softer than the primaries, or the larger blasters. So overall, very happy with the performance of the Kronos. This combo pack comes with red rival rounds instead of the standard yellow, but they're the exact same, and of course this blaster is compatible with those normal yellow rounds. So overall opinion on the rival Kronos. Overall, I'm super satisfied with these blasters. A few months ago on my second channel, I made a video speculating on the future of the rival series. Would a sniper rifle make sense? Would some other blaster make sense? And I mentioned a pistol is the only thing the rival series really didn't have, because the Apollo is not really a pistol. It's too big to holster. So the Kronos blaster fills the last gap in the rival series, and it does so very well. It shoots hard, it doesn't jam, and it feels great. And the design of the pistol itself is sort of narrow in the front, more similar to a firearm. That similarity in itself isn't what I'm raving about, but the narrow front end allows this to go into a holster fairly easily. It won't fit into every holster because it is a rather large front end, but they make tactical holsters able to fit a pistol with a tack light on. This would fit into one of those. I'm not really the dual wielding type, and you can't prime these blasters without using another hand. And it's a bit of a bummer that it doesn't have a lanyard loop in the back here, because then you can clip your sling to it and just push the blaster away from your body to prime, like the Strong Arm and the Disruptor. So I'm not sure I personally carry both of these in a battle, but just to have one in the holster would be great. And bonus, if you're a Deadpool fan, I think the decals on the blaster look pretty cool. The packaging is unique and interesting. I'm more excited about the Kronos blaster itself rather than the Deadpool-like stuff, but it's a nice little bonus, and the regular Kronos, like the white one, hasn't come out yet. So to restate, my overall opinion on the rival Kronos is very positive. Solid power, rival precision, didn't have any jams or malfunctions, it's a very comfortable shell, and it fills pretty much the last role in the rival series of pistol. I purchased this Deadpool combo pack from GameStop, and I believe it's an exclusive to GameStop, and I believe Nerf is releasing the normal Kronos that's not like a Deadpool one for a lower cost in the future, but that one's not out right now, and the Deadpool combo cost about $60, which I think is a lot, or at least a lot for just the Nerf parts. Because it has the Deadpool stuff, of course they're going to charge a few extra bucks. And this packaging and the artwork, they put some time into it, man. I mean, the custom plastic, it's fancy. Is worth 20 or 30 bucks? Maybe not. But hopefully I provided all the objective information on the blaster so you can make that purchase decision for yourself. If you'd like to buy it, I'll put a purchase link in the description box below. That concludes the review. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, bros, stay tactical.